Hello, this is Trent Chapman here, Short Sale Genius. Apologize for the red nose. I don't drink alcohol, so it's not like from drinking too much. It's the sun. I went out fishing and I forgot to put sunblock on. Anyhow, I want to talk today about a topic that came up. I've got a lot of emails from members of our group here about California and the California Association of Realtors just sent out an email just letting everyone know that undisclosed short sale payments may be illegal. This is very true and very accurate. Disclosure is the key here, and let me go over what they're talking about here. They're saying that when you're not disclosing certain fees that are paid outside of escrow, that they can be considered a violation of RESPA, loan fraud laws, and licensing laws. So be very careful about how you do your transactions. I recommend that everything show up on the HUD. Now, it is okay, let me explain this, it is okay to pay stuff outside of closing, being paid outside of the escrow. However, it needs to show POC, paid outside closing, on the HUD. So there are transactions where we will pay fees or stuff outside of closing, but we never leave it off the HUD. If you leave it off the HUD, it's not disclosed properly, and you're going to have issues. So let me give you an example here. Here's the problem that you run into. You're dealing with a first lender, they're owed $200,000, and they're going to accept $150 as their payoff. You've got a junior lien with a different bank, and they're owed $50,000, and they want $5,000 for the payoff. So the junior lien is offered $3,000 from the senior lien, and they say, no, we want $5,000. And you don't want to go back and fight the junior lien to take less money. You don't want to go back and fight the first lien to get them to increase their offer to $5,000 to the junior lien. So what do? You just give $2,000 from the buyer to the junior lien and don't show it on the closing statement. Now that is fraud. You need to know that when you're doing anything off the HUD, it constitutes fraud because you're trying to hide something from one of the lien positions. In this case, the senior lien. There are other ways that are legal to go about doing that and showing it properly on the HUD. That is going back and talking to the junior lien and saying, hey, take $3,000 as a dead deal. If they stick fast to the number, they say, no, we need $5,000, otherwise we don't care. You might have to go back to the first lien and tell them, hey, they're going to close this deal out without even taking this offer and consider it unless you offer them $5,000. If that doesn't work, go back to the senior lien and say, look, I talked to the buyer. They're willing to increase their price by $2,000 if they'll let that go to the senior lien. Your net amount that you've accepted will be the same, and the senior lien will get the extra $2,000 without having to affect your net amount. Is that okay? And surprisingly, you guys will think, oh, that's not going to happen. Anything you offer, the senior lien is going to want. Surprisingly, we get them very often to accept that. And sometimes you can even offer it out of your commissions. I don't recommend it. You worked hard for it. You should keep your commissions. So there is one thing that you need to be concerned about, and that is non-disclosure to the buyer and the seller on anything on the transaction. Even if it shows up on the HUD, if there's something that you're charging as a fee to a buyer or seller, and you're not disclosing it to them, but you showed up at the last minute, that also constitutes can be considered fraud because it's an undisclosed fee. And the new good faith estimate laws that are coming into play will help to eliminate any of those issues where a buyer's good faith estimate has to match up to the final HUD. So I'll talk about that later in a different video, but keep it clean. Make sure you're doing everything on the HUD. Anything paid outside closing should still show up as POC on the HUD. That way you're doing everything legitimately, disclosing it to all parties. Again, hopefully you guys are taking this seriously because your license on the line as well as your livelihood. So make sure you do everything the right way. It may take a couple weeks longer to close a deal, but make sure that the senior lien and the junior lien are agreeing to the payoffs and they understand what you're doing. You can go back to them, get them to give more money to the other position, or you can go back to them and get them to accept a contribution from the buyer and do it on the HUD legally. So until next time, take care and do things the right way.